Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 42 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Now available on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music, with Pandora and TuneIn plus Alexa versions coming soon. As always, I'm your host, Erroll Moss, and with me is my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey, hey.
And we're gonna get into the Japanese games we've been playing. Or Japan inspired. We mix it up a little bit now. It's too hard to avoid with how popular some games get. So I played a little more Genshin Impact. I don't know why I said Impact.
Impact should be a different game.
Yeah, that's a different game. I faced another boss. He was like an electric and ice wolf thing. He kind of reminded me of the. Do you remember the wolf boss from the first Ni no Kuni? If you've played it.
No, not that I can say.
Reminded me of that.
Okay.
It was this because in Ni no Kuni it was this ice wolf boss that you get. I think it's also the first summon you get. But I can't remember. And so that was fun. And then otherwise I've just been doing my daily commissions, trying to get my adventure rank up so I can get to the next story. Then I did some Halloween stuff in Iceborne to get the or in Monster Hunter World Iceborne to get the harvest armor with the pumpkin face, and I got for my Palico I got her a pumpkin head and a little ghost sheet for her armor. It's actually funnily enough, it's the best Palico armor I have unlocked right now because the Barrieth in Iceborne is kicking my butt.
Okay. I don't have any context for that, so I can't really comment.
A Barrieth is a giant saber-toothed cat wyvern that can spit icy blast at you.
Okay. Sounds daunting.
Yes. So I'm trying to grind to get a decent fire weapon. And I already have some ice-resistant armor that was suggested. So hopefully I can get through that.
How long does it
soon.
take you to grind all that gear?
Well, I don't play. I was trying to play every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably would have been done by now. But the last 2 or 3 days I've gotten up kind of late, and I was like, oh, time to it's late enough that it's like, well, I gotta start working on stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So like only about, well, because since I have to fight Master Rank Anjanath, and I'm usually doing it by myself, it takes almost the entire quest time, so nearly 50 minutes.
Wow.
So you can see why I was only doing it once a day.
Yeah. It definitely takes a lot out of you.
A good way to start the morning by hunting a giant dinosaur thing. And then I just last night I played a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV again because I didn't realize I was actually still subscribed. I thought I had turned auto renew off, but I'm like, you know what? Since it's on, since apparently I did pay for this a week or two ago, I gotta play it a little. And that was fine. I just did a little more story questing. It wasn't anything. I didn't really do any battling. I just walked around one of the expansion areas talking to different characters, and I was like, all right, whatever. It was kind of nice though. Just not having to fight against anything.
So you just did FedEx quests?
Basically, yeah. I mean, there were story quests. There was just there just didn't happen to be any fighting in like that particular line of a couple of quests.
Okay.
And I was like, that's fine. I'd rather do that than have to, because I haven't played in a while. I'd rather like start with that while getting back into a game instead of being thrown right into it and like, oh god, what's happening? And then ending up failing the quest because I don't realize what's going on.
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy 14 quests aren't that difficult.
No, but sometimes the story quests that involve like fighting can be really annoying. And like there will be like a time limit, or you have to do it a certain way, and you might not realize that the first time, and you're like, oh, whoops, or somebody dies.
I mean that just shows you that it's important to read the quest description and follow along with the dialogue.
No, I know, but it's not always. I feel like it's not always super clear. Like, cause there was a specific one a while back that was, it was some quest where you had to go through this like huge thing and rescue these hostages, but also help this other this other guy who was fighting the people in that building, and you just had to run around a lot, and it seemed kind of weird what it was unclear like what order you were supposed to do stuff in, or if there was an order. And I like asked my friends who were playing, and they're like, oh yeah, that quest is like particularly weird.
Okay.
I wish I could remember which quest it was, but this was a while back.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, what about you?
As for myself, there is at the moment a free login campaign for Final Fantasy 14, but it's just for about 4 days, so not that much time, but I mean, kind of trying to whet your appetite or get you to be enticed enough to resubscribe. I finally hit level 30.
96 hours, right? Or something.
Yeah, 96 hours. I finally hit level 30, which is kind of the first big milestone, I want to say, in terms of leveling.
Yeah.
At least it opens up the late game quests for your job. And yeah, I didn't really play all that long. I think maybe an hour max. Didn't have that much time to play games this week, so still enjoying it. It's far more engaging than, say, Genshin Impact, which I've also been playing. And it just goes to show you how much of a stark contrast free to play is with paid content. In Genshin Impact, which I've also been playing, like I said, I'm kind of starting to lose interest rapidly because there are so many level gates to content that it makes playing the game kind of a chore, which it shouldn't be. And the story isn't.
That's kind of the biggest problem I found.
Yeah, and the story
lately.
The story isn't engaging enough to carry you through the free stuff. So you're kind of going through the motions. It's pretty. It has great music, but it's kind of decreasing in interest for me.
Well, that's why I'm doing daily commissions when I'm in between, when I can't get to the next story quest, because that way I just I play it a little and get a bit of experience, and I don't really end up burning myself out,
No, but even then, I still don't.
But then on the other hand, then that just takes a while.
Yeah,
that's kind of annoying in itself.
Even if it's just those 4 daily quests, I think I'm okay, I'm investing time in something that is unfulfilling, and I could be playing any of the other 300 or plus games I have in my library that are paid for, that don't have these frustrating level gates. Why don't I just invest in those? So I think I'm gonna put Genshin Impact to the side for now and have fun elsewhere. But if you're enjoying Genshin Impact, by all means, go for it. I'm not gonna stop you. As for what else I've been playing, I started Ghost of Tsushima Legends for the first time. It wasn't that big of an update, kind of 10 gigabytes, I want to say, more or less. And I just did the introductory missions to get acquainted with the various classes. You have a warrior, samurai. Samurai. You have the ghost. You have the archer, and you have the ronin. So those 4 classes. It's an interesting mix. The combat, I feel, is a bit slower than the main game, which can be a bit frustrating, I think. But I'm also at base level, so maybe that's why. And I still have yet to dive into the game with other members in a party, so I can't really speak too much on it.
Oh, you can play Legends single player?
I don't want to say. It looks like you can have maybe AI companions. Maybe I don't know specifically. I have to dive more into it, spend more time with it, and then I'll be able to.
Otherwise, how have you been playing? Just with random people?
No, the introductory courses you get through. The tutorial stages with just 4 characters. You switch between the 4 characters, and
okay.
I'll spend more time with it, and I'll let you guys know next week. And
I've been watching I've seen a couple people play that, and it actually gets me a lot more interested in the game than the single player does.
I'd say try the single player. That's all I'll say.
I mean, now I kind of do want to try the single player, because I'm like, well, if the multiplayer looks as good to me, maybe I was being a little too harsh on the single player.
I'll say try the single player. The only I spoke with Daniel Hollis on Twitter,
friend of the show
today, I want to say. And he was also wondering, hey, what's the big deal with Ghost of Tsushima? Why is everyone so in love with it? I didn't really feel for it. And what I said was, it's a beautiful game. Combat is engaging. The one-hit kill system is also very fun. Though it kind of outstays its welcome by the end of it, because there's not much variation in the scenarios you're thrown into. And the only knock I have against the game is that you don't have much agency in the story. Once you play it, I suspect you might also come away with the same take. You're kind of left wanting and wishing you were able to influence the narrative to some degree. It's very linear, which can also be enjoyable for those who don't kind of want endlessly open world RPGs like, say, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If this is more your style, go for it. Have fun with it. Also, I've been playing more Robotic Notes Elite. I'm still in the opening stages. I haven't gotten to a part where I'm wowed by the game, but it's a visual novel, so it might take...
Is anything at least interesting?
Not yet. I've
oh boy.
Well, that might just be my takeaway. I've seen the anime previously. I think I got into half of the episodes before I had my interest taken elsewhere. And so far, it's everything I remember. There's no real big thing that hooks you or interests you or sparks the there's a mystery here probably sense in me, but I just might have to spend more time with it. It is a visual novel, and visual novels take some time to get warmed up, and it's a Japanese visual novel, which takes even more time to get warmed up. So I'll have more impressions next week. Yeah, I can still hear you. Okay.
Okay, so we had some weird technical difficulties there. It happens. You were talking about Ghost of Tsushima, robotic notes, and it's not interesting yet?
Yeah. Like I said, it's probably going to be interesting, but I can't say much as of now. I'm barely 10 hours into the game. Maybe next week I'll come back with a glowing review. But yeah.
Okay.
That's all I've been playing this week.
All right. So we're going to move on to the In From Japan J list, where we talk about recent video game related entertainment news. And we have 2 stories on here. The first in this section is Kirby Manga Mania will appear next year. This is by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. Hirokazu Hikawa's Kirby of the Stars manga series appears to finally be getting an English localization. On Twitter, Viz Media announced Kirby Manga Mania, a Koro Koro Comics collection of stories starring Kirby that will launch in summer 2021. The imagery and cover suggest this is some sort of compilation of Kirby of the Stars, the story of Dedede who lives in Poo Poo Poo.
Jeez.
What with the presence of the Japanese title and the presence of Dedede de Poo 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 in multiple locations. However, considering this line of comics started in 1995, it is uncertain what could be covered in this volume. It's already been localized in France, first 2 volumes, and the third has a November 2020 debut date, and the fourth has a January 2021 release in France, and yeah, so more Nintendo manga.
Yay, I guess.
I don't know if there's a Fire Emblem manga, but if there is one, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that localized next.
Let me look it up real quick. You go ahead.
Okay, well next is PS5 launch day media apps include Apple TV, Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, Twitch, and YouTube. This is from Sarumato over at Gamatsu. Apple TV, Disney Plus, Netflix, Spotify, Twitch, and YouTube are among the entertainment apps that will be available on PlayStation 5 day and date with the system's launch, Sony Interactive Entertainment announced. Additional streaming apps coming to PlayStation 5 include Amazon Prime Video, MyCanal, I don't know what that is, Hulu, Peacock, and more. In Japan, DMM.com, Unext, and more are also planned. I'm guessing Nico Nico. The Crunchyroll, there was an update that said the Crunchyroll app will also be available on PlayStation 5 at launch. Also, they clarified that all apps mentioned will be available to day one. So Prime Video and Hulu and Peacock and MyCanal, they'll all be available day one PS5.
Yep, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's probably the same for Xbox, but we don't know. We have no idea yet. And then moving on to recommended content other than news from the past week listed out, links are in the description, or a link to the paste bin with all the other links, because otherwise the description gets really cluttered. We have Starting Screen, We've Already Forgotten What Real Console Wars Look Like, by Nadia Oxford for US Gamer. Axe of the Blood God, A Closer Look at Yakuza Like a Dragon, by US Gamer. Genshin Impact Sidekick is annoying as hell but also good, by Nathan Grayson at Kotaku. The Best Horror Games for Absolute Wusses, by Jessica Howard over at Pace Magazine. Tactics Ogre Future, discussed with the game's creator Yasumi Matsuno, by Kite Stenbuck over at Siliconera. Review, Zoids Wild Blast Unleashed Roar Will Only Impress Kids, by Jenni Lada over at Siliconera. Pokémon games offer a roadmap for the future, by John Maher for Polygon. AOC's massive Twitch stream has greater implications for US politics, by Imran Khan over at IGN. And AOC streaming Among Us works because it's genuine, by Michael Hyam over at GameSpot. Just putting those last ones in there because I also wanted to remind our U.S. fans to remember to vote. Vote early if you can, just so you can avoid being around a ton of people, and hopefully avoid long lines.
Yeah.
Avoiding long lines is always good, despite pandemic or not.
It's preferable.
Yeah. So now it is time for the news rundown. So I'll let the Shinigami take it away with our one piece of bad-ish news this week.
Shinigami and One Piece. Bankai.
Ha 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 ha.
So, today's bad news is Inazuma 11 SD to end service on December 1st. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Inazuma 11 SD will end service on December 1st, publisher level 5 announced. According to the company, while it has strived to create a game that players can enjoy since service began back in January, it arrived at the conclusion that it would not be able to offer satisfactory service in the future. Yeah, so this is a bummer for anyone who was a fan of the game, but this on top of the level 5 news from last week, it's kind of to be expected. I'm guessing look forward to...
This wasn't developed by level 5 anyway.
Yeah, so I'm guessing look forward to more cancellations by level 5 while they restructure.
Don't look forward.
While they restructure and kind of reassess where they want to take the company.
Yeah, I think you really got to figure themselves out. Alright, so in other news, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth series shipments and digital sales top 1.5 million. Digimon games achieved new milestone. This is from Sal Romano over at Gamatsu. Total worldwide shipments and digital sales for Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory have exceeded 1.5 million units, Bandai Namco announced. To celebrate the milestone, Bandai Namco is hosting a digital sale of Digimon games in Japan until November 2nd at 23:59, so like 11:59 JST.
They're also on sale on the US eShop.
And I think they were just on, like... Yeah. Because my friend of mine who's also a big Digimon fan like me, he's like, oh yeah, I got Cyber Sleuth on Switch because I've been rewatching, like, I've been watching Try for the first time and rewatching Tamers, and I was like, and he was like, I can play Cyber Sleuth again, but not Hacker's Memory.
Why not Hacker's Memory?
Okay, so Hacker's Memory is one of those games where it's like, it really shouldn't have been a separate game.
It's kind of...
It should have been more of an expansion type of thing.
Yeah, the way I know of it is that it's just an expanded, different route from the first game.
And it's not even... It ends up like not being all that different. And it's like, It's supposed to be like, oh yeah, the other side, like being a hacker and like... You're like... They set it up so like... It sounds like you were going to do like way cooler things than you ended up doing. And it's like... Now this just seems like a weird rehash of the first game.
It's kind of like a Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue situation. Like, minimal differences.
Yeah. I mean, the one good thing about Hacker's Memory is it had more Digimon.
That is true.
It. And then for whatever reason, I believe in the PS4 version... The international PS4 version, I don't think had the ability to transfer Digimon from one game to the other. Even though you could do it in the Japanese version.
I don't remember, but I think that's accurate. Since Hacker's Memory has about the same... No, not the same. Like, has more Digimon present than the first one.
And Hacker's Memory didn't do anything. It didn't like spice up the gameplay really. It added like the weird domination battles, which weren't great. I didn't think they were bad, but they were kind of unnecessary. It's like, why didn't you just like, you should have tweaked the actual battle mechanics a little bit to make it a little different from the first game.
Well, it's the second game, Hacker's Memory, wasn't released that long after their first Cyber Sleuth, so true. I'm guessing it's kind of like a director's cut of the first game, if you will. So it's not meant to be a full sequel.
Maybe.
Yeah. So don't expect the full sequel treatment.
Yeah, don't expect a full-on, like a fully fledged sequel. There is another Digimon story game still in development, and it was going to be exclusive to PS4, but now I'm guessing it's going to be either PS4 and PS5 or PS5 exclusive. Or possibly not exclusive at all.
It'll probably come to Switch and PC.
But the point is, there's another Digimon story game in development that we haven't heard about. We've heard that it's in development, but otherwise we haven't heard anything about it. So we don't know if it's like a Cyber Sleuth 2 or something completely different. I would love personally, I would love so get the like a Dawn and Dusk remake, but all together with like Cyber Sleuth graphics and more closer to the Cyber Sleuth gameplay than the Dawn and Dusk gameplay. Although Dawn and Dusk gameplay was cool because the way you would digivolve certain Digimon was you had to grind out against a specific type of Digimon. Like say you like this one Digimon needed Dragon EXP, like a certain amount of Dragon EXP to digivolve, so we would go somewhere with a lot of Dragon type Digimon.
So basically you just want a new Cyber Sleuth game.
I mean, so I liked that, but it was a lot of grinding. So it's like if they could do a Dawn and Dusk remake and then like streamline some of the stuff that they took away for Cyber Sleuth, I think it could be really interesting.
All right.
I'm down with a brand new game too. I'm not picky when it comes to Digimon,
Yeah.
Except for I did not like Digimon World Next Order, but that's a bit different. All right, next story. This is just from Analog on Twitter. They announced the Analog Duo. It's a TurboGrafx 16 PC Engine Super Graphics TurboGrafx CD PC Engine CD-ROM hybrid console that I'm guessing has it has wireless controllers, Bluetooth 2.4G. It has the ability to have wired to. They also have the TurboGrafx 16 analog pocket, and it's coming in 2021 limited quantities. It's $200.
It's looking good.
Yeah, a lot of people are really big fans of like TurboGrafx and PC Engine, especially in the retro collector like community. And we know our buddy Matt Paget is probably hyped about that, since he did the TurboGrafx 16 mini review. So that's cool. I'm still really excited for my analog. What is it called?
Pocket NT?
Yeah. Whatever the Game Boy Advance.
That's what it's called, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the dock and stuff. It'll be cool. It'll be cool to play Golden Sun on a big screen for no reason. And the best version of Dragon Quest III.
Sure.
Anyway.
Sure.
Next story. Solomon program, how to play videos, deep mining, merging, online battles, and programming. This is by Saramano over at Gamatsu. So, I'm not going to go over everything, but it's just like, different aspects of the upcoming monster battle game that Konami's working on.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of it kind of reminds me of Mega Man Battle Network, but like mixed with Pokemon.
So right up your alley.
Yeah, because like it's online and it's a grid-based thing, and they're like digital monsters.
All right.
And you can merge them. Although it was weird how they did merging, because it didn't show two different monsters combining. They showed two of the same monster combining into a stronger version of that monster.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a stronger version. Now that I'm looking at it, it has the same stats. They were just showing how it worked. I'm like, that's interesting. I'd like to see how it works between two different monsters, though. It'll have online play and programming. We have no idea if this will ever get localized, but who knows? I do like the designs of the monsters, though. The art style is nice and clean.
Yeah.
It's not like anything graphically impressive or anything, but it's like not. Could have been a lot worse. All right, that's enough for me.
Yeah. Next
Take it away.
up is Bleach Brave Souls Burn the Witch event begins. This is by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. 2 Tight Kubo series are coming together for an in-game event, which makes sense since one is a spin-off of the other. K-Lab announced the Brave Souls Burn the Witch crossover will be held until October 31st, 2020. People can take part in an event quest and pull on a new banner to see more of Nini, Spankol, and Noel Niashi. There are 2 in-game elements to this collaboration. One is Burn the Witch, The Beginning. This event quest is based on the original one-shot manga. If you go through it and complete it, you can earn an Ososhi Familiar. The other is a new summon banner with a 6% 5-star rate that has both the 5-star Nini and Noel in it. It also has a pity mechanic, that just sounds mean, for times 10 pulls that involves 30 steps. That just sounds complicated. Every 5th step you hit, so the 5th, 10th, 15th, and so on, you will get a 5-star character. That's okay. However, that 5-star isn't guaranteed to be Nini or Noel. You can click on the article for more details and a trailer for the event. Having just finished the anime and also previously having played Brave Souls, I'm kind of tempted to dive back in, but I'm a big Bleach fan and I like Brave's Burn the Witch enough, but my biggest problem with Brave Souls was that it was too easy. So, yeah. Next up is head of Xbox, Phil Spencer on Xbox Series X, Bethesda Software Games on PlayStation, relationship with Nintendo, and more. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Kotaku recently spoke with Xbox head Phil Spencer to discuss everything from the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S to the ZeniMax media acquisition and more. Here are the most interesting snippets from Kotaku's interview. Phil Spencer expects Xbox Series S to be the bigger long-term hit. Excuse me. To summarize, he thinks that because it has a cheaper entry point, or it is a cheaper entry point, and 4K or 8K adoption or 120 frames per second screens aren't that widespread as people might think, and they're way too expensive. So the diehard fans are probably going to get the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, but once the dust settles, you'll probably see more people going for the Xbox Series S. On additional labor required by developers to support Xbox Series S. Spencer acknowledged that having 2 different sets of hardware specifications with Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S requires additional labor by developers. Basically, it means when you're talking in terms of game development, you have like the lower spec and then you have the higher spec. Developing games for both specifications in mind, it's going to basically be double the work or 1.5 times the work. Or it might even be far more complicated than we think. Next up, on Bethesda software games on PlayStation. To summarize, Phil Spencer has said that for now the deals that are in place will be honored. So that's Deathloop, that will be a exclusive on the PlayStation 5, but they don't need to bring Bethesda games on PlayStation to recoup the $7.5 billion investment they made into buying the studio group.
I didn't think we were gonna cover that part.
No, I'm just saying it real quick. There was a lot of discussion this week and last week on Twitter about this, and Phil Spencer is kind of skirting the lines. He's not being firm in one direction or the other. So my takeaway is that people commenting on this that Bethesda games will be full exclusive are reading too much into this, or your predictions are kind of way too early. We'll see. This generation has not even started, so we'll see. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. There are a lot more tidbits in the article, so click on it if you want to have a full read.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think the Bethesda games are going to make their way to PlayStation, or are they going to stay Xbox exclusive?
Only time will tell.
Okay. Next up, we have new PlayStation Store to launch October 21st to 26th on desktop, October 28th on mobile. PlayStation 3, PSP, and PS Vita content no longer purchasable via browser, only via PlayStation Store access directly on console. I kind of want to add that that's not entirely true, because where I'm at in the world, it's still possible. So maybe the update isn't rolled out uniformly, but it does say it will launch between October 21st and 26th on desktop, so maybe it'll take some time. But I digress. This article is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Sony Interactive Entertainment will launch a new version of the PlayStation Store on desktop between October 21st and 26th, followed by mobile on October 28th. The company announced in an email sent to the PlayStation Network users. The new version of PlayStation Store on desktop and mobile will no longer allow purchases of PlayStation 3, PSP, or PS Vita games and add-ons, as well as PlayStation 4 apps, themes, and avatars. The wishlist feature will also be discontinued. This is... okay, it makes sense, because having stuff up on the PlayStation Store takes up space and costs money, so it makes sense that they want to streamline it and kind of spend less money on this. But I'm kind of in agreement with the Vice article that was published this week, that this is kind of insulting for those who like their older consoles or those who are interested in the preservation of older games. And with this move, Sony is kind of saying we don't care about our legacy. The money we're making, mostly, I kind of want to say 90% of it comes from newer games, bigger games, more expensive games. So why would we keep investing in our legacy titles? So it's a mess.
Video game preservation is important.
It is important, but not when you're making money, apparently. So next up, we have PS5 voice chat report functionality detailed. This is also by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Sony Interactive Entertainment has provided further information on a new voice chat functionality coming to PlayStation 5, which will allow players to report verbal harassment with an up to 40-second long audio clip of the voice chat in question. You want to click on the article? Wow, my voice is cracking. You might want to click on the article for full details, but a lot of controversy sprang up about this, because while those of more marginalized and people of color communities see this as a good step towards tackling harassment, others are kind of up in arms about this maybe being a breach of privacy. So, yeah.
And then that's the next article.
Yeah, that also kind of delves into this. This is PlayStation looking into negative feedback on PS4 party changes. This is by Jordan Alleman for IGN. Sony has revealed that it's looking into negative feedback surrounding the changes to the PS4 party system that arrived as part of the 8.0 system update. The 8.0 update was pushed to consoles worldwide last week and changed the way parties work, combining the party and messages features into one system. It has complicated the invitation process for some and led fans to voice their concerns online. Players now need to open a message group in order to invite other players to create a party, and many players who used to use the private party system to avoid in-game chat now have more limited options. In light of the outcry, Sony has announced on Twitter that it's looking into the negative feedback received about the party chat changes. So yeah, click on article for full details. So yeah, Sony kind of is still the most popular kid on the playground, but it's kind of screwing up all the way until launch of PS5. So yeah,
it's a bold strategy. We'll see how it plays out for them.
Yeah, exactly. Sony to optimize the PS5 fan with online updates. This is by Wesley Inpool for Eurogamer. Sony will optimize the PlayStation 5's internal fan with online updates. It said in an interview with 4gamer.net, with translation by Resetera user Orscare, backed up by our own resident Japanese speaker John Linneman. Yasuhiro Otori, VP of Mechanical Design at Sony Interactive Entertainment's Hardware Design Division, said Sony will optimize the fan control based on data on the Accelerated Processing Unit, APU's, behavior in each game. To quote, various games will be released in the future and data on the APU's behavior in each game will be collected, Otori said. And the quote continues, we have a plan to optimize the fan control based on this data, end quote. Great. I mean, they can further optimize things.
Hopefully they don't mess up an update and then the fan stops working, right?
Yeah, so it's maybe a good thing that I can't buy any of the new consoles just yet, so I'll let you guys suffer first.
I don't think it's going to be like a huge... I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big problem.
I'm just joking. Calm down.
Alright, I'll do the last bit of PS5 news. Is PS5's trophies will unlock avatar pictures, profile banners, and more. This is by Dom Pepiat at VG247. Trophy Hunters look sharp. A new feature looks set to make PS5 trophies even more valuable than they were on PS4, which they really weren't at all. Over on the PlayStation 4, if you are diligent enough to unlock platinum trophies, you can unlock bonus themes and avatar pictures for your efforts. Oh, you could unlock avatar. I knew you could unlock themes. I didn't know you could get avatars for platinum and stuff.
Yeah, you could.
Typically, Sony sends an email to the account linked to your PSN, and you can redeem rewards from there. The PlayStation 5 appears to make trophy-based rewards much simpler to claim and more common too. During the PlayStation 5 UI video that was shared by the company last week, eagle-eyed gamers have spotted certain trophies in Destruction All-Stars come tied to rewards. The gold trophy Recognize seems to reward you with a profile avatar for your hard work, and the bronze rookie trophy gives you a profile banner. In an upgrade from how it all worked on PS4, it seems we'll be able to unlock profile-based items on the actual console itself, and we'll also be able to claim bonus items from all tiers of trophies, not just the illustrious platinums. It's uncertain how many games will support this feature, and if third-party developers will make use of the system in the same way Sony games do. This is great, because I think, like, trophies to me are just this thing that's like, oh, hey, I got a trophy, that's cool, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like, this provides more incentive to get trophies, and then you don't have to buy avatars. Although a lot of like they make a lot of good avatars free eventually.
I mean,
but like I just like the ability to like unlock that from playing the game.
I mean, avatars being a paid microtransaction, it's still kind of a good accessibility point because some people might not be able to beat certain milestones in order to get the trophies. So
yeah,
I kind of want to see a good balance of both.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I don't think they're obviously not getting rid of purchasable avatars, or else they probably would have said such. What?
No.
Huh. I thought you were gonna say something. Okay. Next story. Legendary Pokemon found in Sword and Shield's Crown Tundra DLC have a 100% catch rate. Capture guaranteed. This is by Ryan Craddock for Nintendo Life. This week sees the launch of Pokemon Swords and Shield's second piece of DLC, the Crown Tundra, which I don't actually know if it's out yet. I mean, by the time this podcast is out, it should be out.
Mm-hmm.
But it has like a really weird release window today, so I didn't get to play it yet. Bringing with it the chance to catch all legendary Pokemon from past games. If you're worried about missing one, or if the idea of intense battles against so many legendary Pokemon sounds a bit daunting, you have nothing to fear. New details on the upcoming DLC were shared in a recent episode of Pokenchi, revealing that the legendary Pokemon you meet will have a guaranteed capture rate of 100%. You'll only be able to obtain one of each legendary, as is the norm for the series, but you definitely won't be able to mess up your capture. Cerebi reports that to reach a legendary Pokemon, you'll need to face off against 3 Dynamax Pokemon. Any damage you receive during a battle carries on to the next, as does the loss of any PP. But power points, I should know.
There's nothing wrong with saying PP.
But characters and berries can be found between stages to give you a helping hand. Once you've beaten all 3, you'll find yourself face to face with a legendary Pokemon. That's cool. They make legendary Pokemon like bosses, basically. Well, they already kind of were, but
yeah,
like even more so.
Yeah. It'll sure be interesting to see, because it extends the playability or the playtime of the game, because it's randomized which legendaries you end up meeting, and also depends on which route you choose,
and which version you have.
Yeah, so it'll be fun.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they didn't add any more, like, any other Gigantamax forms of these legendaries. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, next Sword and Shield story. Sword and Shield's Crown Tundra Galarian Star Tournament is the game's hardest challenge, and unlocking it takes time, by Ryan Craddock for Nintendo Life. Previews of the Crown Tundra DLC, the second DLC to be released in Pokemon Sword and Shield, have revealed new details regarding expansion pass and new content. In a report from VG247, more detail on the DLC's post-games Galarian Star Tournament have been shared. The write-up confirms that the tournament, reportedly described by a Pokemon Company rep as the hardest challenge in the game, will only be available to players who have completed the main stories in both the Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra DLC packs, and have also been crowned champion in the base game. This is basically in the VG247 article, it says, this is basically a doubles Pokemon battle tournament, but there's a twist. You choose which of the famous characters you've encountered you want to partner with, be that gym leaders, the champion, or other significant figures from Sword and Shield. Everybody else is then paired off, and then you engage in a knockout tournament. My question is, can I team up with Swordward and Shieldbert? That whole thing was weird.
I don't know. I can't tell you.
weird post-game shenanigans. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, just because it's the hardest in the game, I don't know how that'll feel, how that will compare to difficulty in past games, like the difficulty challenges in past games.
Well,
I'm interested to see how it stacks up.
From having played the base game of Shield, the game could definitely use a difficulty bump, so this is welcome.
Yeah. And the last Pokemon story is leaked Pokemon Sword beta reveals Pokemon who were cut from the final game. This is from Joe Craig over at thegamer.com, which I keep seeing pop up every now and again. People never seem to grow tired of discovering early builds of their favorite video games, as evidenced by the 2018 Pokemon Sword and Shield beta that was recently uncovered by multiple sources. The leak comes just a few days after source files for planned sequels to Pokemon X and Y leaked online. Various sources have shared multiple images of the Sword and Shield beta build, showcasing unfinished locations, unused assets, and a handful of Pokemon that didn't make the final cut. The original Pokemon Sword logo and title screen were also found, featuring a more battle-oriented design that was perhaps a bit too far detached from its Let's Go predecessor. I really like this older title screen. Featured 3D builds of Pikachu, Mega Rayquaza, Arceus, and Blastoise. Another screenshot showed Blastoise, Pikachu, and Charizard. And there was also Greninja. According to sources who played the beta, only 21 Pokemon were featured. Other leaked images featured appearances of Pidgeot, Furfrou, and Greninja, all of which were not included in the game's final build. Fans felt particular lament for the absence of reptilian ninja Pokemon Greninja, who was sorely missed by players who would hoped it would have turned up in Pokemon Sword and Shield's Crown Tundra DLC. What?
I feel like this shouldn't start any controversy. I hope it doesn't, at least. This happens a lot in game development. Sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes characters get cut, or there's not enough time to finish a story or a development on a character model, and rather than kind of perform surgery on the game and remove certain bits, you just leave it in or bury it under a lot of code. So I hope this doesn't start another fire. So
I don't think so, because I don't see a lot of places covering this story.
Yeah,
it's not really that much. It's not the same as like, oh, look at all these unused designs and unused Pokemon and how fascinating this is. It's more like, yeah, Sword and Shield had a beta and it didn't have that many Pokemon and some were cut, so maybe they'll be back. I don't know.
Yeah, let's keep it that way. Let's not make a big fuss out of things.
I just always find these Pokemon betas fascinating for like what they change.
Yeah.
Or what doesn't make the cut and what does.
Maybe they'll reuse them in a different spin-off or an expanded sequel. We'll see. Alright, next up we have Ring Fit Adventure has now outsold Zelda Breath of the Wild's physical sales in Japan. This is also by Ryan Craddock for Nintendo Life. Ring Fit Adventure is proving to be so popular in Nintendo's home country of Japan that it now has sold more physical copies than one of Switch's biggest releases, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you keep up to date with our regular Japanese chart updates, that would be Nintendo Life's, you'll have seen that Ring Fit Adventure landed in 3rd place last week, reaching an estimated lifetime total of above 1.6 million physical sales in that region. Famitsu has since updated its chart data to show updated game sales for titles that didn't reach the top 10, revealing that Breath of the Wild now has a lifetime total of 1.6 1.62 million, whereas Ring Fit Adventure has 1.668 million. So, yeah. I guess Japan loves being mobile and exercising. Who knew? Next up, we have.
I mean, you gotta.
What? What's your big takeaway from this?
Well, one.
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody really buying Breath of the Wild anymore? Or at least not enough people to make like a
I think once Age of Calamity comes out and Breath of the Wild 2 next year or the year after that, you'll see a big bump in sales for the original Breath of the Wild. So don't you worry.
That's true, but I feel like most people who have a Switch have it. Although it's funny because I was talking to my friend and he was like, yeah, I like how in Genshin Impact how you can climb everything. I'm like, wait, you didn't? Yeah, that's in Breath of the Wild. It's like, oh, I never played that. I was like, oh, I just assumed everybody with a Switch played that.
That's kind of weird because it has an insane attachment rate. Like I'm reading here, it's above 100% in North America.
For whatever reason, he just never ended up playing it. So I was like, okay, well,
that is so wild. We should interview him. Talk about his life choices.
Hey, I don't recommend Breath of the Wild to people. I don't think it's all that great.
I mean,
I like the games inspired by it a lot better. To be honest.
If you don't like it, you don't like it. But it's largely considered one of the best games, if not the best game on Switch. So him not having it, with the attachment rate being so high, is remarkable. Okay.
I'm very curious. I'm still very curious about the sequel because I always want to allow games to have a sequel because of the fact that they can be so much better than the first. You know what I mean? Ever since my logic, I usually use this for Mon games, but like, look, I don't think Pokemon was decent, and then Gold, Silver, and Crystal came out, and it was amazing. So,
well,
allow for sequels.
I mean, sequels can improve, can expand, but we'll see.
Or they could go the opposite way. You never know.
Yeah. Next up, we have Genso Suiko Gaiden and Ganbare Goemon, trademarked by Konami in Japan. This is by Sato for Siliconera. Something from the Suikoden RPG series may be in the works, as Konami trademarked Gensho Suiko Gaiden in Japan on October 5th, 2020. Konami also trademarked Ganbare Goemon, known in the West as Mystical Ninja, on the same date. The title Gensho Suiko Gaiden comes from the two-part visual novel spin-off of the Suikoden games. Konami released the visual novel titled Suiko Gaiden Volume 1, Swordsman of Harmonia in September 2000 for the PlayStation. The company launched a second title, Gensho Suiko Gaiden Volume 2, Duel at the Crystal Valley in March 2001 for the PlayStation. Both text adventure games were released only in Japan and only available in Japanese. So if I had to guess, it's probably a Switch port. Yay. I mean, I'd rather have a proper Suikoden game, but they're dusting off their old catalog, so that's a good
it's kind
thing.
of interesting.
Or I'm guessing because Eiyuden Chronicle was such a success as a Kickstarter, that they might... Well, it's not out yet, so let's kind of withhold final judgment until then, but it might be that Konami's aiming to release this game closer to that release, so as to ride the wave. But yay. As for Ganbare Goemon, the series hasn't seen a new game since the 2005 release Nintendo DS title Ganbare Goemon Tokai Dochu Oedo Tengu Ri Kaishi no Maki. I don't know the translation of that, so Google is your friend.
It was a DS game. That's all you need to know. That's the last time the series.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have Jump Force DLC characters Muruem and Hiei launch October 27th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Early 2021 for Switch. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Jump Force downloadable content characters Muruem, Meruem, or whatever his name is, from Hunter x Hunter, and Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. Come again?
Meruem.
And it's a weird name.
It is.
Yeah. Both Meruem and Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho will launch on October 27th. Publisher Bandai Namco and developer Spike Chunsoft announced. If you click on the article, there's an overview of the characters.
They're characters created by the same guy.
Yeah.
Because Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho are by the same author. And
Yeah.
he is married to the creator of Sailor Moon.
Yeah. He is. Yeah.
Togashi, I think. I forgot his first name. But
Yoshihiro Togashi.
okay.
Yeah.
So my question, getting back to the game stuff, is who keeps playing Jump Force?
You'd be surprised.
I don't know anybody who plays this.
It's an anime game with the most popular Shonen Jump characters. So.
But like even among people who like stream anime fighting games, I still see people playing like the Naruto games more than this.
Sure, but you'll always have fans. And you'll always have fans that'll eat up any piece of media. So there's that.
Heck, from this news and this stuff keeps happening, if there's ever a Jump Force full edition, I might get it just because it has all of those characters.
There is an Ultimate Edition that contains all the character packs, so you could spring for that.
Like all future, it contains all future character packs.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, on PS4 and PC and Xbox One.
I'll have to look into that.
The Switch one has a different title.
Well, I'll have to look into that then.
Yeah. Togashi has not been doing well health-wise, so
yeah.
I hope he
keep him in your thoughts.
Yeah, I hope he recovers fully.
Yu Yu Hakusho has one of the best anime tournament arcs ever. The Dark Tournament.
That is true. Next up, we have Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny details new main and generic characters. Generic. Auto battle and more. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Nippon Ichi Software has released new information and screenshots for Disgaea 6 Defiance of Destiny, introducing new main characters Mageline and Chusundol. Those are interesting names. New generic characters Sidekick and Armored Valkyrie, and new and returning systems such as Auto Battle. You can click on the article for full details.
Are these characters like classes?
Yeah, that's what they mean with generic characters,
yeah.
like character classes. It looks good enough. Yay for Disgaea fans. Next up we have Sakura Revolution extended trailer declares a rebellion. This is by Josh Tolentino for Siliconera. Sakura Revolution, the mobile spin-off of the Sakura Wars franchise, has made clear its seditious intentions via a new extended gameplay trailer. First aired during October 20th, 2020's Aogoshima Command Communique livestream, the trailer is the biggest look yet at the game in action. It features battle mechanics, cutscenes, new characters, and what looks to be footage of a gacha role in action. The video is set to Our Prayer, Our Future, a new song sung by the Imperial Opera Troupe. Based on the description of the trailer titled The Sakura Revolution Review Video, it's intended to provide prospective players a capsule view of the game ahead of its fall 2020 Japan release. I hope this makes its way to the West. It's it might be a gacha game, but it still has more of a strategic bend to it. So please, pretty please, I need my Sakura Wars waifus.
That's why I put the story.
Next up, we have Kojima Productions confirms new project in development. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Kojima Productions has confirmed a new project is in development and is looking to hire talent to work out of its Tokyo studio. The developer's first game, Death Stranding, launched for PlayStation 4 in November 2019 and PC, via Steam and the Epic Game Store in July 2020. It's not much, but it's a crumb of news.
I don't know how. Did you play Death Stranding?
No, I didn't. I
have it because I bought it from Redbox, like back when Redbox actually sold games, and it was having they were having a sale on it, and I couldn't get into it, but I still have it because when I tried to trade it in, they said, "Oh, we can't accept this because it has little pinholes in it."
That's weird.
I was like, "What?" And I think it might just be a thing that Redbox used to do to make sure people didn't, trade in rented games or something. I don't know. That
makes sense. I do want to play it, I should clarify. I just never had the time.
I tried it and couldn't get into it, but maybe I'll try it again at some point.
Okay, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on Kojima and his game design ideas?
I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan. I'm not a stealth person, so I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan. However, Zone of the Enders 2, which I have and still need to play, I really enjoyed the demo that I played of it.
That's just a demo, but okay. I'd say it's a very Kojima game. If you're interested in how Kojima injected certain themes in the game, I'd point you to either Kelly Plagge's review for GameSpot or Heather Alexandria's review for Kotaku. They kind of cover the best. I think they have the best takes on the story and themes of the game. It's also on sale on PSN for 25% off, and that would make it $30. I might buy it then. It's on sale till the 3rd of November. So there you go. Next up is all you.
Next story. My Hero Academia Ultra Impact announced for iOS and Android, due out in 2021 in Japan. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Bandai Namco has announced Hero Quirk's explosive battle RPG My Hero Academia Ultra Impact for iOS and Android in the latest issue of Weekly Jump. It will launch in 2021 in Japan as a free-to-play title with in-app purchases. The game will allow you to train and fight your favorite heroes in casual quirk battles. Players can also look forward to a variety of illustrations. An Android closed beta test is planned ahead of release. Registration will be available at the official website when it launches. An official Twitter account will also be available at @HeroACA_UI. I'm guessing this will have some gacha stuff to unlock characters.
Oh, it will definitely have gacha stuff. I will.
But since it is an RPG and it's probably coming out around, I'm guessing, season 5 of My Hero Academia.
Sure. I don't know. It might be fun, but if
I can see it getting localized rather easily with how popular the anime is.
Sure. But I'd like to caution you if you're looking forward to this game. Every gacha turn-based RPG on mobile is essentially the same. They just have different story and different set dressing.
Not necessarily. But yes.
Which one differs?
I don't know. I want to say they're all exactly the same.
Mechanically, they are. It's turn-based. It's type matchups that have strengths.
So would you say Tales of Cristoria and Dissidia Opera Omnia are the same?
Essentially, yes. I'd even go so far as saying it's the same as Galaxy of Heroes and Marvel Strike Force and Justice League.
I've never played those, so I don't know.
I'm telling you.
I don't even know what Galaxy Force is.
Galaxy of Heroes is a Star Wars gacha game with with turn-based combat. If you've played one of them, you've played them all. You're gonna fool yourself for a couple of weeks and then finally realize, oh, I fell for it again.
It'll be fun. Look, if I can unlock, just give me it. Let me unlock Shinzo, the mind control dude, my favorite character, and then I'm done with the game.
I don't know if that's the best way to play it, but sure. The My Hero 1's Justice 1 and 2 game, both games I would say, are both on sale on the eShop at the moment.
Yeah, but they're just Ninja Storm. They're the exact same as Ninja Storm.
Sure, but it's the same lot.
They play similarly to Ninja Storm.
Sure, but
which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
By your logic that not all turn-based RPGs are cut from the same cloth, you might also like this. So I'm just
saying. Next story. New Dragon Quest merchandise includes heel slime gloves and cover art calendar. This is by Sato for Siliconera. The Dragon Quest series has new official merchandise coming soon in Japan. New items include the perfect heel slime gloves and a sweet 2021 calendar featuring cover art from the series. So we have the Smile Slime smartphone gloves, which have the little smartphone like index finger and thumb things. And we have Smile Slime smartphone glove slime. Then we have the heel slime version, which the fingers are yellow and then the rest of it is blue. Then we have the dot field gloves, which just has has the retro Dragon Quest graphics and like a slime encounter. We have 3 Friends of Winter Monsters hand towel, which is just a nice looking hand towel with some slimes on it. A Dragon Quest 2021 desktop calendar, which is really nice, has cover art from all the games. And then the wall calendar. And I want pretty much all of these, except the wall calendar. I'd rather just have the desktop calendar. Sure. But I want all those gloves.
Sure.
The gloves are all $20. And then the desktop calendar, and then the towel is about, the towel is $10. I'm converting from yen.
Yeah.
And the desktop calendar is around $16, and the wall calendar is around $20.
All right.
The reason I added this is because Dragon Quest Tact is out now, and it's apparently fun. I haven't been able to play it myself because my phone can't run it, and the ways I try to play mobile games can't run it right now. So, kind of stuck. But if you can play it, you should at least try it.
I'll maybe try it for research just so that you have something to chew on next week.
All right.
Last story for the news roundup is Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light coming to Switch on December 4th. This is by Sal Romano for, you guessed it, Gematsu. Nintendo will release Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light for Switch via the Nintendo eShop on December 4th for $5.99, the company announced. It will only be available to purchase until the end of the Fire Emblem series' 30th anniversary on March 31st, 2021. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light first launched for Famicom in April 1990 in Japan. The Switch version marks its first ever release in the West. This version specifically, because I'm sure someone's going to jump in my mentions and say that, oh no, it was also remade on the DS. I know. Nintendo will also release a Fire Emblem 30th Anniversary Edition at select retailers for $49.99. It includes a deluxe art book, replica game box with instruction booklet and map, replica game pack, art piece with game sleeve, and Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light digital game download, mini Nintendo Power collectible, and a collector's box. You can click on the article for full details and a selection of 2 announcement trailers. So yeah. Yay.
Oh, breaking news, the Pokemon DLC just dropped.
Okay. As for Fire Emblem, yay, more Fire Emblem. It is an NES game that's being ported digitally. It's not a new entry in the series. It's not a remake or a port of Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn or any of the other games, but
just a port.
It's just a port.
A translated port.
Yeah, that's all. That is all.
The collector's edition looks nice.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted. I'm really tempted.
I was tempted, and then I realized, 1, I'm not that big of a Fire Emblem fan. 2, it comes with a digital code. 3, the digital version is $6.
Wait, you're not a fan of Fire Emblem?
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Fire Emblem. I haven't even finished 3 houses yet, dude.
I mean, you don't.
And that's the first.
You don't need to finish 3 houses to be a fan of Fire Emblem.
No, I know, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's like I want to have finished at least 1 game in the series before.
Have you played Awakening?
Nope.
Echoes?
Nope.
Fates?
Nope.
Well then.
But yeah, I like how it looks. I did try to order it from GameStop, but then they ran out, and I was like, oh well, I can just save money. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
I do like it when it comes to the poster though. But the March 31st thing is they're doing it again.
So I have an idea on why that is a thing. I don't know if you follow the Twitter profile Tiffany Treadmore on yeah. Well, she is kind of an industry insider, and before the announcement, she leaked this news or teased this news. I should say. And she had an interesting take on why all this March 31st thing keeps happening. It's because Nintendo... Well, let me look up her Twitter real quick so that I'm not misrepresenting her. But it boils down to Nintendo is going to have a overhauled online service starting in April. So once March ends, they'll evolve that into the new Nintendo service online. Also, what else was said? Wait, where is it? Okay, kind of a lot of stuff.
But if it was coming to the Nintendo service, why even release it separately at all?
More money. That's why. I mean,
$6.
First of all, you have the
but it's only the digital version is only $6.
Sure, aren't you happy? Do you want them to charge $30 for it?
No, I'm glad.
Okay,
it's just weird. Like, do you think they're gonna add? But like, do you think they're gonna add the 3 Mario games to Nintendo Online too, or something?
Yes. Okay. I'm reading from the thread. Nintendo is working towards a digital-only version of the Nintendo Switch, which will incorporate a subscription game delivery model with 2 tiers of membership. One will allow gameplay and classic games. Other are that plus new releases. So she clarified that tweet with 1 tier will allow online gameplay plus classic games. The Nintendo Service Online or the Nintendo Switch Online Plus membership would allow for digital delivery of new releases and special editions. Additional rumor, Nintendo is prepping for an acquisition of an existing game studio. And Nintendo is working towards a playstyle option in upcoming games that would allow for the use of your phone in partnership with the docked Nintendo Switch console related to the membership options. Okay.
Well, I guess we'll see. Like, here's the thing. I've seen such mixed things about this. Like, the creator of Cosmic Star Heroine on Twitter, he was like, I want to support. He was like, I want to support like localizations of older RPGs, older JRPGs, but at the same time, I don't want to support this weird digital release limited scarcity thing.
So,
like this.
We only know, or we can only label it as limited scarcity because we have Nintendo's plan up until March 31st, 2021. We don't know what
the fiscal year.
Yeah, we don't know what comes after that. So if the rumors turn out to be true and they have an overhauled online system, like all the NES games or SNES games available for purchase, like a virtual console 2, if you will, couple that with a new model of the Nintendo Switch. If that all turns out to be true, then yay for us consumers.
I don't think they're gonna do a virtual. I would love if they did do a virtual console for Switch, like a proper one. But I feel like if they were gonna do it, something like that, they would have done it by now, and they wouldn't have had the Nintendo Online subscription service be like a thing.
Sure,
I feel like.
But counterpoint. You have the next generation PlayStation and Xbox consoles to compete with. So you have an underpowered...
But Nintendo's not really directly competing with either of them, though, right?
Sure. We might want to keep telling ourselves that, but those two consoles are going to eat up a lot of market share. And Nintendo has to do whatever they can to come back swinging. Otherwise, they're just going to be a distant third again.
Like people keep saying, oh, Nintendo's had not that great of a year. It's like, one, there's a pandemic that kind of messed up some stuff, but two, they've actually been having not that bad of a year. Animal Crossing sold like hotcakes.
Nintendo was having one of their best years,
mostly because of Animal Crossing.
They're solely banking on Animal Crossing, it seems. But if you go onto Amazon and look up the top 10 sold games or most wished for games, they're almost entirely populated by Nintendo titles.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell you?
And
Nintendo
then you gotta think about all the indie, and also all the indie games that are purchased on Switch. I know they're not first party, but
yeah.
When the Switch is an option.
Yeah. So
like,
Nintendo overhauling. Yeah, Nintendo overhauling their online system, the availability of older titles, be it NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, DS, Wii U, GameCube, Nintendo 64,
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy. We've all had signs pointing towards something.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man. I have a good feeling that this will be it. They will finally get their act together. They will finally have an online service worth mentioning. Because I don't know, gamers can be forgiving, but not for long. And if Nintendo keeps going back and forth between being accessible and inaccessible, then they're going to see themselves losing market share to probably Microsoft, who has been having the best messaging of the three lately.
Yeah.
So that's.
I think that's pretty optimistic, thinking they're gonna do all that, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see in March.
Yeah. I mean, in any case, buy the games now, because then at least you're assured that you have it.
Oh yeah, I tried to get the Fire Emblem Collector's Edition through GameStop because that was the only retailer it popped up on, and it sold out like before I even was able to click it.
Yeah, you just said that. So be patient.
Oh, I said sorry.
Yeah. So be patient. Buy it whenever you are able to, but be aware. March 31st. So yeah, that's the PSA.
So we actually before we go, we have actually a couple listener questions this week. So first we have, if the Fire Emblem Shadow, though this is a question from Zyger. You might know him from My Xbox and Me, where he writes for, or from being a Twitch mod on Kind of Funny and various other things. If the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon re-release does well, do you think there's a chance that Nintendo finally localizes Fire Emblem The Binding Blade so we can finally play Roy's story in an official sense? Roy's my boy, and while I love the Blazing Blade with Eli Wood and Lynn, they aren't Roy.
So
which one what is Binding Blade for? What was that one for?
I want to say Game Boy Advance.
Was that like the Game Boy Advance one we didn't get?
Yes.
Game Boy Advance and Wii U.
Yeah.
That must have been a port.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, it was only released in Japan. Will we get it? It is an anniversary celebration for Fire Emblem, so I wouldn't discount Nintendo bringing out any other Fire Emblem releases.
It may depend on how well it does, though. Like, if it does really well, I could see them maybe. But
Fire Emblem is doing incredible these days. Awakening revitalized the series, and it's one of their more popular titles.
And then, Awakening revitalized the series, but then like Three Houses, I feel like everybody was playing that when it came out.
But it started with Awakening. That's what I'm getting at. So it's definitely one of Nintendo's more popular titles now. It's not a niche anymore. I'm guessing yes. If the Nintendo Online overhaul turns out not to be true, they'll probably release the other lesser known titles digitally. If the overhaul does come, it'll probably be released as a virtual console Game Boy Advance release. So we'll see.
Yeah. So our next question is from Sarah. We have, Nintendo announced a Fire Emblem port, but Mother 3 was the game that ended up trending on Twitter. So Mother 3 win? Who at Nintendo needs to get laid so the world can have Mother 3? I don't know. Don't ask me.
Okay, bad news. Nintendo won't bring out Mother 3 because they don't need to. Okay, before you throw your fruits, vegetables, eggs, and pitchforks at me, this is probably something they're saving up for a break in case of emergency scenario. Maybe if you see them having kind of a tough quarter or a tough year, maybe with next-gen consoles on the horizon taking up space in people's hearts and minds, they'll be like, okay, guess what we have on Switch? Mother 3. And once again, if the Nintendo Online service overhaul comes, it'll probably be on there someday, maybe soon.
Yeah.
Who knows?
There's a decent fan translation somewhere.
Yeah, but we all want the convenience of it being on Switch.
That's true. Well, we'll see. Maybe someday. And then our last question is from Kaylee, and it has nothing to do with video games in particular. What do I have to do to get a full ranking and review of all the Japanese Kit Kats? I don't know, maybe we can make that a Patreon goal when we make one eventually.
Sure. How many flavors are there? Japanese Kit Kat.
32.
Kit Kats
I'm probably more than that.
How many flavors are there? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There are almost 80 flavors.
When I searched how many Japanese Kit Kat flavors, according to Google, this article from 2015 says there are more than 200 different flavors of Kit Kat in Japan. And then this
well.
other one says 300. This Wikipedia thing says 300. Limited edition and seasonal.
Okay,
that's everything. That's all of them.
there is a service that ships boxed Kit Kat with a variety of flavors. Well, I mean, how
it
many?
It would be really hard to make that one video with how many there are.
You'd
have to make that a series.
We could have like one every quarter.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for In From Japan ranks Kit Kats. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I do want to do this.
Would you be able to get it shipped to you
Yeah,
where you are? You think?
I should be able to. I should be able
The
to.
problem with chocolate is the one problem with chocolate is it can melt. Well, they're not all chocolate, but
It'll probably be in one of those fancy boxes that insulates it well. So
I would hope so.
Fingers crossed.
It's just in a
Fingers crossed.
No, it's just in one of those like mail sleeves.
I mean, I'll just order one box to test it out, and if it doesn't work out well, we'll forget it.
Yeah, so maybe stay tuned for that. But otherwise, we're that is all for this week. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. Don't forget to vote if you live in the US.
Yeah.
And
thank you for listening.
Yeah. Also watch anime.
We'll see you next week. Bye everyone.
Matane.